Dismiss. All right, that's out. All right, here we go. How's everybody doing today? Well, thank you guys for coming to our live stream Q&A that we do every Monday. Now we used to do it every other week. Now we're getting too many questions, so we're starting to do it every Monday at 4 p.m. Pacific. Um, I super appreciative of the fact that, I get an opportunity to answer questions over and over. We're working on systems to help people with being able to get information at their fingertips, going to old videos that we put into archives, putting a good or a better knowledge-based system together. So just bear with us, but for now we're able to get to the front of the questions and get them answered. I just on the front line of crypto and everything that's going on. This is going to probably be, and just so they understand kind of what a bull run is or what a altcoin bull run is. The two main coins that are out there that have existing ETFs or are now able to be monetized by the different industries that are out there are Bitcoin and Ethereum. Bitcoin and Ethereum have people have the ability to place money in through investment vehicles. One of them is called an ETF. Another one's called futures, and so what's happening right now is money that the 20 some odd trillion, 30 some odd trillion, whatever it is, from retirement accounts. People have the ability to move that into crypto based accounts, and it's going to happen so fast. The evaluations are going to change so fast. And the element of people keeping a conservative figure on it, like I'm trying to keep a conservative figure on the valuation of certain coins over the next weeks, months, years to come. Um, but it's math, and math is everything. And when you're looking at the dollar in versus market value versus coin value, even if you were to do a one-on-one ratio, which is not the multiplier that's happening currently. And what I mean by multiplier, for every dollar going in, it's a much higher return ratio of the value of the coin. So there's not a one-on-one, it's somewhere between 50 to 1, 100 to 1 um, ratio on dollar in versus the valuation of the coin. And so what we're going to be seeing in the next months, years to come is many, many people stepping into a billion, if not trillion-dollar lifestyle. And I know it sounds far-fetched for somebody to even think of themselves as a millionaire or even a billionaire. I would assure to you that it's not far-fetched, and that there's going to be a new class of people with a new class of wealth. And the suggestion is that it's all going to be tied to CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, banks that control countries, um, and that these banks are going to insist on certain things from people, like kind of like the mark of the beast kind of a thing. But before you're able to buy, sell, you must have, this quote unquote mark on your hand or on your forehead. And there's so much debate on what that means. What I believe that the mark means and what the Bible in Arabic, and you look at Romans 13 and the way that uh, Allah is written out, it looks a lot like um, the symbol that's represented in the Bible for the number 666. And so without us getting into a big debate about it, for you to have the symbol of Allah, let's just take this round for example and just think this thing kind of through. And I know a lot of people don't think it has anything to do with living in the private. Well, I've already told you guys that in the next couple of years we're going to be expecting to see things. And one of them is a wearable, and that's the precursor to the mark. And a wearable is something you wear on your wrist, and you're going to have, they'll know everything about you. They'll be able to test your skin. There'll be microneedles to the point where you won't be able to feel it on the wearable, and it'll engage with your body, and eventually it's going to end up being an implantable chip. But you haven't heard it here first, but you're definitely going to hear in 2027 them proclaiming a one world religion. And what that religion is has a precursor to it of people that are praying to it successfully right now, which is the Muslim faith in the United Kingdom. And it always starts right there. People in the United Kingdom currently today are being arrested for praying privately in their home. Look it up. You can't make this stuff up. So it could be construed as hate crime, hate speech to have a prayer life in the United Kingdom. And so I want to encourage people to understand that whatever happens there, this nation always follows. And people always say, well, Trump's in charge. And um, listen, the people that Trump is bringing to the table, um, I think you'll find not to the benefit. If you understood truly how they nail everybody when they get them into position, like Cash Patel, Pam Bondi, all these people who were proclaiming the release of the Epstein list, the names, all that stuff, not realizing what they had in their hands. I've been saying for a long time they're not releasing that list, and they're never going to release that list. If anything, they may give you a name or a couple of names max, but they're never going to release that list. And the reason why it's so important to understand that is, um, the bad guys are in the leadership, and it's a program that I think was CIA and Mossad driven. And so when you understand that maybe somebody who was said to have died that looks nothing like the actual person, when you take a look at the person that died in prison, Epstein, and you look at his real photos, it looked very different. The nose, the chin, the identifying markers of what a body may look like. They don't have any video footage of it. They don't have anything. It said that he is a Mossad agent and closely tied to the CIA. And so when you take a strong look at what's happening with the Epstein files, um, it's never going to be released because it is the operations that are running that are needing that for leverage against all the countries around the world. And if those names were to get out, the entirety of the world would collapse as we know it because the leaders of every country in the world would be on that list. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's not so crazy. And the reality is we have to be thinking through, all elements, whether President Trump is good, bad, indifferent. You have to be obeying and thinking through why God a long time ago said, come out of her, my people. And so that a whole element of what is her and why God throughout the entirety of his word kept bringing up, do not be the surety for anything. Do not be the collateral for anything. Do not be a pledge against another man's debt. And those things are starting to speak volumes to a lot of people now because they're starting to take it very seriously, especially when you take a look at the fact that a country is equivalent to a corporation. The corporation's in bankruptcy, and the people are the shareholders, which means liably, which is why they're able to run all the programs that they're running to get you embedded with DNA markers, cDNA, changed DNA. Not, it's not what it means, but cDNA. So now they have the ability to take all these people that were recently injected, who now have a synthetically altered DNA. Now they can patent those people. And those people belong, listen to me, this is not a joke. This is a Supreme Court ruling. All you got to do is look for it. I do not remember the name. But it is a fact, and they will word it very sneakily when you read it. It is a fact that if you took that and your markers reflect a changed or altered DNA, a cDNA is what they refer to it as. You are the property of that company, Moderna, Pfizer, Johnson& and Johnson. And I don't know what the name of the case is. That sounds a little bit familiar, but all you got to do is read the summary, um, and you'll determine it. But anybody that has been injected with that and where they have their name changed, their DNA changed, they are now the property of one of the pharmaceutical companies. Which is very interesting when you take a look at pharma and you take a look at the word of pharma in the Bible and the biblical implications of these words that they chose to call themselves and their companies. It's all interesting. Um, I have a bit of feedback in my audio. Do you guys agree? Here over in Zoom land, do you guys agree on my audio is feeding back? I might just have to mute my microphone on the computer. Let me make sure I'm on the right mic. Yep, mic is good there. No, no, no. Okay, no feedback on Zoom. Sorry, guys. I have a lag. You're a lag, Brian. I have a lag. You ever lag for break? Do you even know what that means? I miss playing pool when I was a kid. I had a pool table in my garage. Anyway, so saying this to you guys because in the next couple of years, we're going to be introducing a lot of things. Crypto is going to be in the forefront of all of this stuff, and we're going to be thinking about ways to operate and keep our crypto, keep everything that we do, and be above reproach and outside of their jurisdiction. That's one of the things I wanted to chat with you guys today about and help you guys to understand just how important it is to remember that these things like the birth certificate, it is a bond. A naturalization certificate is a bond. A green card certificate is a bond. And where you're coming in as the surety, the collateral against the bond. And so you're the living man that's saying, that's me. And on the BC, it's the U.S. citizen. On the green card, it's nothing more than a step to becoming naturalized, to becoming a U.S. citizen. Nevertheless, it's still a bond, still monetizable. 32-pound watermark banknote paper. There's reasons why they do all these things. There's reasons why everybody wants to become an American and why they're doing these, you know, mass adoptions of all these people. They used to. I don't know what they're doing nowadays other than kicking them out, but um, nevertheless, it's also another reason why people that commit crimes here are not able to be prosecuted here and they're sent home. And in a lot of respects, not just one or two, in a lot of different respects. So it's because they don't have subject matter jurisdiction over them, and they're smart enough not to sign anything when they get into committing their crimes and getting picked up and locked up. They're smart. They know they're going to get sent home anyway, and so the second they start signing away their life and agreeing to these terms, the judges convert them and put them into prisons here. And I think it's kind of sad. I don't think people necessarily understand the gift of what it means to get to this nation. It's like the person that's coming from Cuba. If they get caught in the water, they get sent home immediately. The person that gets onto our land, they have rights. Rights. What gave them rights? Making it here. That's it. What can they be if they make it here? They can be a state citizen. They can be an American immediately. The Supreme Court affords them the ability to do that. What happens? They get picked up from ICE. Then what happens? They get put in lockup. Then what happens? They start signing paperwork, taking a subclass agreement and making them and forcing them to go through a process called naturalization. Now, this doesn't mean there is a vehicle to come into this country and get a passport as a U.S. citizen without going through naturalization first. And I wish there was. I know there's a Supreme Court ruling that still stands. It's still what's called shepherdized, which means active law today. But the Department of State just doesn't necessarily see. We've tried one or two a long time ago. We haven't tried anything recently once. But I'm just saying to you guys, it's interesting because um, for me, knowing these people that come over, because I grew up in California and many of them are friends and unfortunately stuck, not knowing what to do. I think if they're willing to work hard, um, I saw a joke where these aliens that are coming over, if they can go and capture three child predators, we'll give them citizenship immediately, and we can call the program Alien versus Predator. Sorry, not my joke. I thought it was cute. I just wanted to tell you. I think something like that would be great because these guys are some of the hardest working people I've ever met, and they're some of the nicest people. And the people that you're seeing on the streets and doing these things are paid and brought up. A lot of them are from prisons and, from deep in South America and were released and sent over the border. Um, but yeah, I think that would be a good program. Case of Alien versus Predator grants you citizen. Yeah, that'd be awesome, huh? That'd be three predators. Bring three predators to jail. You get automatic citizenship. I think that'd be awesome. So what I'm going to do is read you guys first question. It's from Mark, and already took care of her. Okay. As I'm reading through this passport application, this from Mark, and I'm thinking long term. I have a question. I'll be doing the LPP once I can afford to, once crypto bull run is topped out. And then I'll get new UPS mailbox, new address, and I'll have my foundation name. So I'll get my state citizenship passport with my current address on the house. I'll have to then go back and change the passport again after I complete those steps in the LPP. No. Am I creating more work for myself down the road? A little bit, just notices, different things like that. But no, you'll have that passport for 10 years. You can be good. Just make sure we're doing the app for you and let us know that that's a physical home address. So there's certain things that we can do on that to help you out. Next question. Um, the question is about the driver's license from Kelly. Uh, and he wanted to ask me if there's any way to restructure my enhanced CDL agreement without canceling it. Yes, because it costs 6K to get another one. The different ways he suggested on dealing with it doesn't fit my strategy. Okay. I'm canceling every other contract. And what I want to do is create a way to keep the courts from using my CDL to draw me into an article in court for any reason outside of what I'm using for commercial purposes. So Kelly, great question. What you're going to see on every indictment is a three contract rule, where they saw you checking your personal mail in front of the mailbox, where you have two motor vehicles registered to the all caps name, where you the postmaster says he knows he delivers personal mail to you at such and such address. Three contracts. So if you can clean up the majority of the life and the way that you receive mail and get things out of your name, close your personal bank accounts, different things like that, like the LPP process says, we can help you clean up your CDL. There's a way to restructure it and do the same thing that you would on a driver's license, but keep it. So it's not an issue. We just have to redo it, doing it as the CDL. Next question. Same person. So now you brought up the concept of a self-executing trust, which the agreement with the DMV is correct. There's only a single-sided person on that agreement. And there's the grantor, the state of California, right across the top. And there's a grantee. The agreement is called a driver's license. And because we're the only people on it, it's what I would refer to as an adhesion trust. He said, I can change the terms of the agreement at any time. So that's what I need to know. Is there a specific episode that he really harps on the concept that you can send me the link to? Kelly, I've talked about it quite a few times. To peg you an episode really quickly, I don't think it's doable, but I'm going to answer your question right now. Um, when you take a look at any process that you have to go through to do a federal case or state case, you have to do what's called exhaust the administrative process and or exhaust the administrative remedy, which means the private side first. So you got to send your letters, send your notices. This is what I'm going to do if you don't respond, and then you send them a final, and then you bring that into a court case and you request the judge for a summary judgment. under administrative law practices, which is what over 60% of the states do, to steal for, homes. They don't have a judicial foreclosure process. They do a non-judicial administrative process to complete a contract with the people, um, and mailing people back and forth so they can show they did several letters, notice of default, notice of sale, and so on. Then they do an eviction. So now that you're just a formal tenant, and with no rights to the land whatsoever, and they're going to try to take your house through an eviction process. So that administrative law practice, which is allowed to steal the largest equitable thing a family has without ever going to court, is real. We use the same principle with the DMV, with the voters, with any kind of company we're trying to recontract a trust indenture. Number one, because you're the only signing party onto an agreement and there is no formal agreement between two parties, you're the only one that has to change the terms of the agreement of what you're willing to do or accept on the agreement on a go forward basis. So what we do with the DMV is we do a complete notice of everything that's wrong with the application. For example, it was done under an unconscionable fraudulent contract with a minor child. That's an easy one. Even though they're getting a new contract every 4 years, there's still unconscionable things that were done in the very beginning and currently, that they did not give notice on. Like, you did not tell us we do not need to have a license to drive in this nation. I don't care what the law enforcement says. I care what the Supreme Court says, and that's what the Supreme Court says. You do not need to have a license to drive in this country. Now, do I agree with a woman or a child or a man with a family going around this country without a driver's license and throwing donuts out their window on a fishing hook, trolling for cops? No, I don't agree with that. Because that's really what you're doing is you're trolling for cops. And coming time in the future where they're just going to know who's driving, they're going to know who's behind that wheel, and none of the questions are going to get asked. And if you don't have certain requirements, you may get pulled over for a lot different things than we're getting pulled over for today. But the point is, um, we are able to affect a new agreement. Then not only do we get the fault, the default, and the summary and the judgment, we also put it up into the public, and then we serve them with the final notice of the judgment. They don't do anything about it. And that is, and remember something, we're not doing this for little things. We're not doing this to get out of tickets. We're not doing this to try to fight law enforcement on the side of the road. It's those moments that where we are saying we are not the surety, the collateral. We are not the debtor. We are the creditor. We are the state citizen. We are a child of God, and leave us the heck alone, period. And that's really the position that you want to be in, is you want to be in as a creditor under God directly, holding the license in your wallet, completely canceled for you as a living man, holding it in your wallet as the beneficial interest now in that agreement for the registered organization, which is the birth certificate. The birth certificate is the U.S. citizen, and it's a whole nother conversation. But hope that helps, because we're using the same systems they created to steal houses all across this country to simply correct the elements of a driver's license through a total of 5 letters. What do we do to become a beneficiary of the Social Security accounts and not the trustee? Simply same thing, same process. Our Social Security method that we do, the letters that we do, takes you from one to the other. We don't let go of the equity rights to that account. We just have the account deposited automatically to the foundation, and we change the terms of the agreement with the Social Security Administration, being the fact that it was given to you at birth. That's an unconscionable contract for a living man or woman. For me, I gained it at the age of 13. I shouldn't have never been able to sign a contract with a corporation as large as the United States at the age of 13. That's unconscionable. It's illegal. It's immoral. And for those reasons, we are able to adjust the agreement to any terms, any way, and they have a right to rebut the presumption. They do not rebut the presumption. It becomes a fact in law, and where we are, again, this is called creating a court of record. And the court of record are the facts of the case. The facts of the case are they had the opportunity to respond with a point by point, response to all of our questions and all of our issues, and they will not do that. So because it is a adhesion trust and we're the only signers on the trust, we are 100% allowable to change the terms of what we are willing to accept on that trust indenture. And that's what gets outlined in the agreement. No problem, Jackie. Do you guys also do corporate law? As I can now see from the above conversation, it started a foundation in turn as the secondary owner of my LLC. Now for LLC, we're already getting a few clients and we wanted someone to help us with the review of the NDA, contract, et cetera. Is that something Kelby would engage us with? If yes, what is the procedure to go forward and the cost of it? It depends, a lot of times we can get it done in, an hour or two. The cost is $295. It's a consultation. You can go to store.hisadvocates.org, pay for the consultation, drops you right into a screen to where you can book the time with me and get on my calendar, and we'll talk about whatever you're going to talk about. Just want to see the docs. I'll review them real quick, tell you what I would do. If you want me to change the docs, it might be an extra fee, but we can get them all dialed in for you so that you're private and you're not public, and so that your structure is protected, where your foundation is the primary member of the LLC, and we just need to ask some questions. Do you have any partners, different things like that. Next question. The new, comma, the all caps name has an account with Robinhood, and my employer will be making deposits to there if I requested it. So direct deposit from your employer to Robinhood. That's interesting. If I had them say a $50 a week deposit, will that come back to bite me as the private man? Depends on structure. Are you currently registered as a W-4 or W-8 BEN? Have you gone through the paperwork to become private? Have you done your revocation of election? I have a lot of questions. I can't just, but if you're a U.S. citizen, I don't think it's going to come back to bite you. You can make deposits wherever you want. You're just going to have an accountability when you get the W-2 at the end of the year. Each month I can show a donation to the foundation and transfer to a private wallet. It's true. If I understand it correctly, me privately would not be able to be put in harm's way doing this. So basically, what you're saying is you have a foundation set up with Robinhood. You're making a direct deposit of a certain amount of money per week to that account. It's not pre-tax, it's post-tax dollars. You're still going to get the deduction no matter what. You would just have to write yourself a receipt and a contributions receipt, not donations receipt, a contributions receipt for the amount earned with the tax ID number of the foundation, and give it to the all caps name or the U, and make sure that's taken care of on the 1040s. Kelby could not answer the firearms question on the live. No worries, I get it. So where would I get the paperwork for the sale to the foundation, notification to the ATF? Make a, so you've already posted this for Alex, and you're trying to get paperwork to sell the gun. So look, this is how easy it is for you. Write down all the pertinent information, your name, the address, who you're selling it to, um, transfer date, gun serial numbers, purchase date, um, all that stuff. If you want us to create it for you, we can do a quick, easy 1-2 page, maybe $100, $200 max, and we can get it done for you. But we need all the data. Or you can take all that data, you can plug it into ChatGPT, and you're gonna, if you don't know it, you're not familiar with it, you're gonna go through it 4, 5, 6 times, but you'll get it done. and then post it to us, and we'll tell you whether it's private or public, and make any corrections on there so that you can get it in and submitted. Hope that helps. Okay. As expected, they have denied the protest. I'm looking for steps. I do have the documents that they sent to me with the denial, and I believe the instructions for further arbitration. How about lawsuit, Jamie? Um, I can put you in touch with somebody that can maybe help you with a paralegal that can develop some paperwork to take them to court if you wish, and sue them, as they need to make the entity tax exempt. It's being held by a private church, and it needs to be tax exempt. Many of these county recorders are going to have to be sued to get them to stretch, or to get them to know and do their jobs right. Second thing you do is advise them that they are in fact violating the rights of a private church, and start building an administrative process to where you can lean up on the bond of the county recorder, which is a great idea. Anyway, they have quickly turned over my pay now or else. One is a notice of a lien. Jamie, just pay it under protest, and that they and write a letter that you've, you know for the payment, not for everything else, but write a letter that this is all being done under protest. You are a private exempt church. Taxes of any kind do not apply to you, um you know and just send it to them with the notice of the payment. And then but your next steps are, um go after the bonds of the county recorder, or file a lawsuit against the county recorder for violating your rights as a church on the tax stuff. Listen, nobody said this was going to be easy, but one of the things that we are noticing is people that are doing that, they are coming to settlement tables quickly because you are a church, and it's not deniable. Next question. Let me know what the documents I should attach. So we need to set up an, okay, same thing. Next question. Once I send the IRS SSA letters out and remove signatures, will I be able to collect my Social Security check as I depend on it? If you read the Social Security docs, you would see that um, all all that information, because you're not gaining the contract where you're gaining the assets up front like requested in the SSA. Um, but they are still sending the monthly stipend. They're not gonna stop sending a monthly stipend. What you're gonna do different is convert the monthly stipend to the direct deposit to the foundation account, and for a lot of different reasons, but you're still gonna be able to collect your check 100%. Next question. I have two LLCs and one C corp. What do I need to do with them? I don't know. What do you want to do with them? I know you're trying to ask a question regarding living in the private, but do you need any of them for living in the private, or is it just something you're holding on to? You know what I mean? If you're just holding on to them for no reason, and you have a foundation and everything in that foundation meets your needs to work on the public side, doing what you currently do, then just keep the foundation, and close those other accounts down, and close the corporations down with the Secretary of State. We have a letter for that. We actually give you a letter with the foundation. And if you don't have it, just go and make a copy and a request on your ticket, and we'll be more than happy to give it to you. I think I need to resolve my companies before the IRS and SSA removals. No, no, just remove yourself. Do them all at once. I want to cancel my LLC's registered agent because the LLC has been dormant since its inception. In order to cancel, they want me to type my name in lieu of my signature. How do I fill it out? See attached. Don't worry about the name. Put the name in all caps and sign it with the word "by" in front of your name. That doesn't cause any jurisdictional issues or circumstances. You can cancel an agreement out at any time as the president of that LLC and close down the LLC with the Secretary of State. all day long. So don't worry about that. All right. Guys, if you have any questions, keep doing what you're doing, posting them into the Q&A, and we will get to them as soon as we can. Um, Next question. I want to be transparent about my past so there's no misunderstandings. In 2009, I was convicted of a conspiracy of burglary. In 2023, I was convicted of misdemeanor indecent assault. I am currently serving probation until August 26th, and I remain a long-term Megan's Law reporting requirement. Part of these requirements is keeping publicly listed residential address at all times. These experiences cost me a great deal, relationships, trust, and stability, but they also push me to take responsibility and rebuild. With the support of my family and faith, I've been learning, healing, and working through and becoming a stronger, more accountable person. Because of the reporting requirement, my personal address remains public for many years. To move forward responsibly, I want to explore the ways to manage this reality specifically. How can I balance the requirement of publicly listed address with my need for personal privacy and safety? What are the steps can I take and reduce the personal and social impact of having this information publicly available? And are there resources, strategies, or support networks that can help me stay compliant while still protecting my personal growth and relationships? Um, so I won't say your name, and I appreciate your sentiments of desiring to grow and get through this painful time in your life. Um, I do want to publicly say to you, everybody deserves a second chance. However, um, that was very recent, and I've always had a personal stake in protecting innocence. And I'm not saying you weren't, or because I don't really know what you did, but I've always removed myself from helping that class of a person, not because I don't have a heart for them. I just have a strong heart for little kids. Um, so if this is a road you want to go down and you're willing to pay for it, I would first suggest having a consultation and have a one-on-one with me so I can look you in the eyes. And I'll be honest, this is a battle. We're in a spiritual battle in this world. I know people fall and I know they can get up and change their lives. I do know that. And so I'm willing to talk to you is my point, but I would have to talk to you first. And you would walk me through your relationships and you would say some pretty private information. I need to know what you did and so forth. Um, I can tell you you can do all this on your own and with enough digging. I'm sure somebody out there is trying to use my stuff somewhere, but be careful. Um, your questions are very nuancy, and I have answers. For me, it's kind of scary to give them because I don't know your heart. And let's put it this way: Megan's Law is a volunteer website. That's your help for the day, and nobody is required at all to be on that. It is people have challenged that and won. That's all I'm going to help you with right now. But if you want further help, I'd be happy to do a consultation with you because it is my time. And it would show that you are the person that I'm talking to by the payment being made. And I would be able to understand and background you and figure out what it is exactly, and then we can work from there. So I hope that helps. Next question. I'm talking to Schwab today about moving my inheritance funds from Merrill Lynch, and I'm putting it in an inheritance fund so I don't pay taxes from Merrill Lynch. This is what I've been waiting for before I opened my bank account. The question is, do I sign the documents like I would sign a bank contract? Yes. And where would I sign my signature part? Um, and do I sign in cursive and my whole name? And also, what is the Caleb and Brown brokerage account? Caleb and Brown is for cryptocurrencies. Um, I'd recommend getting 3 or 4 different accounts under the foundation name that we create for you. Um, question on your Schwab account, is it your name or the foundation? If it's your name on a Schwab account, um, how is putting the money from Merrill Lynch or your inheritance fund? I'm putting it in my inheritance fund so I don't pay taxes from Merrill Lynch. That doesn't sound safe. Just open up an account at Merrill Lynch under your foundation and run everything through that account. Now, again, it's not really labeled. There's a few questions that I may have, but if you want to ask more specific questions, go ahead and do so in the Q&A right here, so I can kind of know exactly what you're talking about. That's what I've been waiting for before I open my bank account. The question is, do I sign any documents like I would? Yes, yeah, we already addressed that. And um, I would sign the term non-assumpsit in cursive on that line. Again, Caleb and Brown is just an account for crypto trading. They're based out of Australia. And they charge a lot. So you want to open up a few different accounts, but they're one that can open up foreign jurisdiction. And they're able to do it as a foundation, private, unincorporated, unregistered. But there's a few out there doing that. So just know that you can get an account open it as any one of those. All right, hold on. Q&A. Oregon DMV rules try to keep you from putting the auto in the name of the trust. They want to title put in the name of the trustee of the trust. I fought against that because the car was already purchased by a trust and the trust is the sole owner. Therefore, I sent in the title and registration doc when accompanying declaration, which provided that I could have the car title in the name of the trust. Good. They sent me back an envelope, and the outside it says registration renewal. Oregon DMV rules for titling a car in the name of the trust. Try to keep you from doing that. They want the car titled in the Naructions inside envelope. Sorry, don't know what that word is. And with all my all caps personal name on it and the address. They also sent me back another envelope with the title in it, I presume, and that they have put the name of the trust on the title in all caps, lettering purposely spelled the name of the trust wrong, I assume. Continue next message. So listen, if you're having any problem, which doesn't sound like it, but if you're having any problem in the state of Oregon with registering a vehicle or putting something, just go to another state. Minnesota, South Dakota, there's other states that you can do. You don't need to bring the vehicle there to have it checked. Don't need to get a smog, none of that. And you can drive anywhere in the country you want with those plates. Next question. Can you explain the actual value of registering your automobile in South Dakota under your foundation versus your home state under your foundation? There's a lot of benefits. There's really no jurisdiction over a vehicle in California that has South Dakota plates on it. Number one. Number two, in California, to renew a vehicle, it's got to be smogged every year, every other year. And so you're taking it in to get a smog check. It may fail to pass. It may not be registerable, so you can register it in another state. But there's all kinds. Just go to YouTube. There's a guy that does a pretty good job. Just came out on YouTube explaining opening up putting your vehicles into and you can also go to South Dakota and get a driver's license, and you can also maintain an address there. And so when police are asking questions about where do you live and those things are none of their business. Yeah, and the only time that you're required to give them an ID is if there is an investigation to which they are they where they there's a criminal issue that they can label where there's reasonable and articulate suspicion that you have committed a crime. Those are the only times that somebody can get asked for your ID. So, guys, look, I think we've always failed ourselves for a lack of knowledge. We failed ourselves because we think we have to answer every single question that's given to us, and we don't. And the reality is, I have seen bullies after bullies after bullies get humbled by their superiors when the realization that the question wasn't answered, and they tried to force a an arrest because you were told to hand stop video and doing this, doing that, whatever it may be. And you do not need to comply with anything uh, unless, and they'll always say, we're in the middle of an investigation. Well, you pulled me over for what? Well, you were speeding, hey, look, this is an important time in our life. This is why you want to get that little device on your front window and with two cameras on the side, one camera going out the front, two cameras going on the side, and it has a rear view camera as well that you can install. Guys, I was coming back from Vegas, and at any time, if a law enforcement officer were to pull me over, I have a camera on him at full time, and he would see it. He would actually see the video screen with him on it. But that camera saved my butt that day. We were driving in a truck, and across the forehead, the front of my truck, a car comes probably 9,500 miles an hour and just runs across the front of my truck. I'm doing 75, 80. The speed limit is 75. And we watched him cut another guy off, and the guy that was in front of him tapped his brakes. He went onto the shoulder, went around him, got in front of the guy that tapped his brakes, slammed on his brakes. And I'm never one to rat somebody out, but I'm going to tell you that was nice to call the cops and have this guy pulled over and arrested for what he did. And we have it all on video because of that one little thing. And this guy was super mad at us. And because I got right up next to him, got him on camera, got his plates on, and he got behind me and started doing the threat and intimidation stuff. Um, anyway, bottom line, it's super important we document our stuff. And but there are so many. A guy created a video on all the benefits of South Dakota versus California, or really any other state. There's a ton of benefits, tax benefits, but you don't need to worry about that if you're putting everything in a foundation name anyway. Plus, you can register a vehicle in South Dakota in the foundation name, and it's much less expensive to get renewal tags in South Dakota than it is here. Plus, you don't need to get the smog check every 2 years. And plus, you can get a driver's license, and all you need to do is spend one night, and the company will help you with that. That we give you, that we would refer to you. So if you want, or if that sounds interesting for you, shoot us go to hisadvocates.org and submit a support topic, and we'll give you the information on the guy out there so that you can start you know, uh, a mailbox and everything that you need. And they'll even write a letter for you, and just got to go out there, stay the night, and rock and roll. Next day you can apply for a driver's license and make sure you have everything that you need to do it. So call the DMV in advance. Sorry. The license plate also arrived, and on my address they have spelled the name of the trust in all caps wrongly again. It's okay. They're not creating a corporation by changing your trust name into all caps. So don't worry about whether the trust is in all caps or not. Your private trust. Don't worry about that. I'm going to send those three things back without opening them. Do you agree with that strategy? No, just take it. Open it up. You're fine. There's many things you're going to get that are in a foundation name that are in all caps from a lot of different agencies, just because that field they have can't print it out in lowercase. But you're fine because that's the owner, which is not suable, which is not, by anybody else in the event you get into a car accident or whatever. What can I write on the license plate envelope? I'm not going to address that because I don't think you should send it back. The other two envelopes I'm going to send back. Um, no, don't send them back. I'm gonna tell them that I assume there was an intentional. No, you're James. I don't want to. You're doing what you think is needing to be done. That's right and correct. And sometimes it's just over the top, unnecessary. Don't worry about that one. It's too small to worry about. It's not going to cause a jurisdictional implication over that entity because they've changed it into all caps. You're fine. Sorry, Kelby. I asked about the ATF and the LPP, and Alex said he posted it here again. I only found out 2 hours ago. Sorry. If someone gets a chance, they can answer it. They're still, over on the ticket. Okay. What methods of payment are you accepting in the foreseeable future for the lifetime VIP lump sum payment? Anything crypto, gold, silver, cash, Venmo, Zelle, credit card, debit card? Hi, Kelby. My son Don asked this on his ticket, and Alex was going to add it here. He wasn't going to add it here. He would have sent it to me. So I probably have already answered it. Let me know if I've answered it, Belinda. Okay. I want to clarify that we want to cancel our LLC's registered agent, although the LLC has been dormant since the inception. Not sure if we want to cancel the LLC at this time. To cancel the registered agent, they want Don to type his name on the online cancellation statement in lieu of his signature. How should he type in his name? So, Belinda, are you going to be adding another registered agent? Because anybody can write a letter to the Secretary of State. I hereby am no longer the registered agent for XYZ company with XYZ tax ID number. Please immediately remove my name from all constructs within the Department of State. Notarize it, and you control the fact that it doesn't have to be digitally entered. Next question. I know you don't like messing with traffic tickets, but I got a ticket. When they are presenting you the ticket, they're asking you to sign not as the admission of guilt, but as a promise to appear. Um, Out of my new habit of signing non-assumpsit, I did that, and now I'm wondering, do I need to show or pay? I'm planning on paying, but was curious. Uh, First question, has it been 3 days, or are you still within that time frame? Second question, um, I would only be doing non-assumption. They're thinking that's your signature. They're gonna proceed forward as if you've signed and agreeing to appear. I would personally call 1-800 tickets or something like that and have them appear for 99 bucks. It'll probably get dismissed. Don't even sweat that stuff. Don't try to get around it. Don't try to ignore it. You don't want something to pop up, even though you did non-assumption. That's long-term thinking, and you can easily just do a 3-day cancellation with under federal law with a right to cancel because it's been within 3 days and you never even signed that. You can literally state that I was being forced to sign and I wrote the words non-assumpsit on the ticket and do not wish to consent or agree to making an appearance when I have been forcefully pulled over for no criminal liability or liability um, under the law, and the cop turned on its emergency lights and there was no emergency. They understand what you're doing, and a lot of times if they read that ticket and they go, oh, not a sunset, they're what are they going to do? I've seen them cancel it, I've seen them proceed forward, I've seen it all, but the reality is you need to get in front of it and do a formal letter canceling the doing a 3-day cancellation. Under federal law, you can cancel any contract in this nation within 3 days. um You can start there if it's been over 3 days, and there's maybe another thing you need to be thinking through. Next question. When purchasing a brand new car and demanding the MCO, foundations become the owner of the car. It needs to be registered with the state. When foundations become owner of a car, yes, the MCO's already been registered with the state, but the MCO on the back, you can make the foundation the owner without registering it. All MCOs look like a title agreement. They have those boxes on the back so that you can easily register. You can not register, but you can easily show that the foundation is the owner of the MCO or the MSO. So don't worry about that. How'd one go about it to register it with the state? Do you really want to register it with the state? What happens when you get in such an accident with a car? Well, if you're private or public, you're going to get sued. If it's an unregistered car that they don't know who the owner is because they can't find it, they can't have anybody served other than the driver. There's so many variables with that, you know. There are people out there that are getting private insurance, um, and or just regular insurance on an MCO without a registration all day long. Um, Foundations do not have to have insurance, but uh, when cars are registered that don't have insurance, the insurance notifies the DMV and the DMV revokes the registration. At least here in California. But a foundation is not required to do anything, as nobody has jurisdiction over a foundation. Does it even help to have an MCO if we're going to register it after all? Not really. Sometimes you mentioned to reach out to you about things outside of the LPP. Call what would be the best ways to reach out to you. The HISA platform doesn't allow direct messaging. For jurisdiction reasons, you don't respond to email and texting. I don't respond to specific questions on texting because it's too long. Generally speaking, email, you're correct. But texting and email, yes, jurisdictional implications would apply. And those messages can go a long way and be brought into a lot of things. Um, the messages on my platform, it's a platform that's out of this country. There's no jurisdiction over. It's between two private parties. And that's why I pretty much answer all questions there. But if you're trying to get my time, you can do a consultation, store.hisadvocates.org. That's one way. If it's a quick question, do it here, John. I'll get it addressed right now. Hope that helps. Can US citizens join and be board members of a foundation? Yes. A US citizen is a birth certificate, guys. These are men and women that have a job called US citizen where the US corporation can prove that they're liable, surety, collateral for that corporation and the debt thereof. So the real man or the real woman is the one that's joining to be a board member. Um, there are elements of people that have a status of US citizen but still can do things in the private and be above reproach. Now, just think about it differently. Like you are not the US citizen. Those that come to the board are not the US citizen. Now, obviously, if somebody were to indict them, they would be under the jurisdiction thereof because they hold an office, they are an active employee of the United States, and for sure they are all saying that's me, you know, on their identity, on their uh birth certificate, if you will. So it's not something you really need to worry about if you're trying to get people just to join your board. I want to liquidate some of our crypto that was donated to our foundation, not XRP or XLM, to make some repairs to our home. How do we do it? Um, you can go to your, did you open up an exchange account? Because all you do is open up an exchange account in the name of your foundation, send the exchange, the foundation, the money from the crypto in that account, and then tell the exchange you want to liquidate and have them do a wire to, and they'll walk you through it. There's obviously a fee for all that. But did you profit? And are you taking profits? I have a foundation and Bank of America account. Is there a template in the living in the private I can use as a consult agreement with one of my consultant agreement with one of my clients? Yeah, we can give you one. I still have two jobs where I'm an employee. Is it too late to do a W-8-BEN? No, no, it's never too late. When we get our passport booking card, is there a way we can check to see if we are private? If you did the process, whereby you submitted an application through us and you took our paperwork and went down and applied, you are in fact a state citizen with allegiance to the state, which is a body of people. And the reality for you is, God, I wish there was like an state citizen hotline, put in your passport number. Yeah, you are a state citizen, Kelby. You figured it out. No, the federal, the state governments are never ever going to do that. But here's how you know. Um, Anytime you look at an indictment, just know this. There's implications, 16 different ones that we get you to change and operate differently on how you receive your mail. Super important. What you have registered, super important. Personal bank accounts, super important. All kinds of stuff. Um, Once those are done, let's say, um, let me explain an indictment to you. It's a three contract rule. They're going to show that you're holding the office of U.S. citizen. They're going to show that you're acting employee of the United States. And they do that in a number of ways. But for you, once you do the process of the state citizenship passport, and once you stop receiving personal mail and stop, you know, holding the office of the person and you change those habits, go and read a few indictments and you'll look at the living in the private and go, oh, I get it. That's all you got to do. Read the first couple of pages of how they got subject matter jurisdiction over somebody. Um, and you're gonna look at the living in the private program and go, oh man, I get it. This is why you asking us to do these things. Next question. What should I do about the government requesting me to fill out a census form? Same thing you're gonna do when I'm telling you to send me all your gold. Care of his advocates, SSM, all of it. Say no. It's okay. What about somebody who has not gone through the LPP? California forces you to get a new DL and register your vehicle in California. They make implications that they're forcing you by saying if you are in the state longer than 6 months a year, then you got to do this. And the reality is, you can drive around with plates, foreign plates, foreign license, all kinds of stuff. Just keep people away from your house and don't drive radically, and you're going to be fine. If you live in a town where cops know you by your first name, move. You know, stop trying to stop trying to change the town. A lot of people try to change the town. Um, okay, I have some EIN numbers from the state of Massachusetts that I never filed taxes with, but I just heard you say that you have a letter to send the Secretary of State. I'm in the LPP program. Do I just put a request in? Yeah, let's put a request in. You want the cancellation letter for a LLC or corporation for the Secretary of State, and we'll give it to you. We're in stage one of our LPP and we have XRP. Should we put it on a cold wallet now or wait until we have a EID number with the foundation? Get it on a cold wallet now. We can do the donations later, but put all your crypto on cold storage. Be careful not to use Ledger. Just my 2 cents. When filling out a lawsuit with anybody for breach of contract with the foundation, you're not going to sue anybody with the foundation or even damages physical to me personally. Would it be the agent filling the suit on behalf of the foundation? What is the beneficial interest of the all capital letter name? Will we come to court and special appearance? The whole idea of a foundation is to stay out of court. Never want to go into court. If you want to go into court, you're going through the wrong program. Nobody can sue a foundation. Nobody in a foundation can probably figure out a way to go into court with representation, but you don't want to do that. You don't want to subject the foundation under the state for any reasons. Reason for previous question, Steve is setting up a meeting with a bishop in one of the larger branches of our faith about the foundation options. Are they possibly available to join us by Zoom? Yep. Reach out through a support topic and we'll set up some times. My incident happened in 2019 and I was charged in 2023 for a little clarity. Thank you. And it wasn't minor related. Okay. Well, if you want to talk about it, I'll be more than happy to talk to you about it. To submit a support topic. If we mail the 3-day contract cancellation under the federal law for non-assumption signed traffic ticket, which party or parties would be the best to mail that notice to? The police agency and the court. All the parties on the ticket get a notice. And overnight it, certify mail it, kind of a thing. What are the circumstances in which we can use an SSN, if any, after filing a revocation with the IRS? Well, again, filing a revocation with the IRS has nothing to do with the SSN. The SSN is the Social Security Administration. The SSN has 4 trustees. You're currently operating as a trustee on behalf of the trust that you have your parents created for you through the Social Security Administration. You can okay, so guys, look, I have not bought a car in my name in 20 years. There's just no need. I haven't used a social in 20 years for credit purposes. You can use a social if you need to. Getting an apartment, there's nothing being monetized there. And to me, I'm okay, let me just say it to this way, Peter, I do everything on a worst case scenario basis. Like everything I've structured on the living and the private is so people do not get charge instruments. People do not get indicted. People do not get warrants over their homes. That's why I do what I do. And so the practices that I'm creating is to avoid those circumstances for even a guy who's never going to get an indictment anyway, even for a guy who's never going to see the likes of a courtroom anyway. And I just want to help everybody on a worst case scenario basis. So I'm slapping 5 levels of Kevlar out of a possible of 5 to stop any bullets, to stop any harm, by creating a procedural program. So one of the things is, if you're coming out of Babylon and you're using a social to gain functions of creating a loan or a car loan or any of those things, you're really enriching the banking system and you haven't come out. It's just my 2 cents. I could be wrong. I don't think I am. Because that would be a single contract that they could bring forward on a 3-contract rule, proving they have subject matter jurisdiction over you. And there's coming a time where they're going to be going through everybody, seeing if they got jurisdiction over them or if they're wanting on anybody, and they, are going to try to hammer that through. But you can use a social at any time if the application is properly filled out to where you're not gaining access to credit. You could even use it for credit purposes if the application is properly filled out, but know you've opened up areas that there could be problems there if You're that kind of a guy that maybe has problems on the horizon or maybe had past problems, you know. I just want to help people disappear, be private under God, and not have anybody's ability to come after them. So that's why we created the structures that we do. Caleb and Brown told me they're no longer accepting unincorporated associations about 50% of the time. We were talking to other people at Caleb and Brown too that say they still are. So Kraken still has my application reviewed 2 or 3 weeks. The issue seems to be who is the ultimate beneficial owner. Just put yourself as ultimate beneficial owner. That's okay. Get the account open and then do a notice letter at a later time stating that that no longer is the case and put Yeshua HaMashiach is the beneficial owner on a letter that you serve them with constructive notice on later. And they're going to put that in and add it to the account and remove you as the beneficial owner and add Yeshua the HaMashiach as a beneficial owner, which is Jesus the Christ. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. They don't know Hebrew, you know. And that's a fact. You're not lying. It just seems to be any suggestions. Yeah, okay. I know that sounds funny, but it's facts. What would be the implication if somebody was born on a U.S. military fort by a military doctor and the BC says born on a fort and the full name of the upper and lower case, not all uppercase, the real name property of the U.S.? No, no. And it doesn't even matter if you are the property of the United States, even if you were born in D.C. D.C. is a territory on top of Virginia or Maryland. So we take DC citizens and we get them to designate their allegiance to Maryland or Virginia, and we write and have a special thing. It's the same thing with you. As long as you had a parent that was a U.S. citizen, you can be a U.S. citizen that gets traversed into being a state of the Union citizen if you're not already a U.S. citizen. Next question. Sent this question to Alex, the sport ticket, not sure. Who's Brad? Instructions of how to obtain an EIN number for a single member LLC owned by a foundation. Um, we could do an EIN number for you. We'd have to have some information from you, and that's all. I've tried 3 times physically submitting the SS4. I was told today that an IRS agent I needed to contact the SSA, that there was a death certificate or something like that associated with my registered organization's SSN. I've never had any trouble getting an EIN number before, originally under responsible parties of the. Okay, so there's a way that we can get an EIN for any kind of an entity without a social as his advocates for the beneficial interests of a named party. $100 takes time. Take about 3 or 4 days. So if you are interested, we can do that for you. Next question, would you be willing to put together a 3-day response template for traffic tickets? Seems like a very small window for a very busy lifestyle. John, just get to know ChatGPT, give them all your information, ticket number, jurisdiction of the ticket, places of the court appearance, places of the people that, were the officers, the PD and all that. Ask ChatGPT to write you a 3-day rescission based on federal law for this ticket using these addresses with your name on it, and let ChatGPT know that you sign the ticket or you put in cursive the words non-assumpsit, which means no contract or he did not undertake, and let ChatGPT spell it out, write the ticket or write the letters and make sure it's clean and make any adjustments necessary. It'll take you 5 minutes. As a non-resident alien, do I need to apply for an ITIN? Not necessarily. I watched his advocates videos regarding this topic. Could not find any sample forms regarding how to fill out the SS4. They wanted me to verify this with the IRS. They could not take passports, only the SSN. So I informed them. Okay, so Christopher, is this a part of trying to get the TIN number for a company? Just ask the question of what you're trying to exactly get accomplished. I'm reading everything, and my apologies, Chris. I'm still confused. Um, if tire, you're a state citizen, and your property is in the private, if you have issues on said property, trespass, etc., whom do you call that for help? The police. Maybe the trespassers are law enforcement. Um, Law enforcement can come onto private land without a warrant. When mail comes in care of, as a matter of fact, I had a friend who had a gaming guy come on his land and write him a ticket for baiting. And I said, let me get this right. Where did he say it happened? And whatever, the guy wrote, I am on your land, such and such address. I'm in the area behind da 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 da. And so everything was done illegally because he did not have permission to come on the land and he did not have a warrant. It was very easy, to get through that. Um, he didn't want to though. He didn't want to go out and go down that road. He could easily have had everything dismissed, and it wouldn't have been a misdemeanor, wouldn't have been a ticket, wouldn't have been anything. All right, next question. When it comes in care of my name is still on the top, and then in care of the foundation name on the second line, is it okay? I would get your name taken off still if you can. What I do is on those accounts that are just buggers and they won't remove the name and they need to keep a name, I just say, look, Richard Sunflower, Richard Smith, Bill Gates, have an artificial name put onto the account, and that way the in care of name comes to the foundation, and if they happen to write an extra name, it's some name that's not you. Okay. Are you going to make a his advocates AI model? We don't want his advocates or AI to be able to have access to the his advocates database. Um, we are working on using AI to help us with strategies on knowledge-based systems and the creation thereof, and some other things, but we're really trying to stay away from AI uh, as it relates to having access to your private data. Um, I'm going to go over to the YouTube account and address some of the questions over there. We've already addressed 30 questions, just FYI. Having been denied a business account at B of A, what alternatives at best? Establish an LLC, open a B of A account, name of the LLC is a wholly owned subsidiary of my foundation. You could do that. But my question is, why are you getting denied opening up a foundation account? And remember, nobody can tell you that you can't have your counsel present when opening up an account. Second, try to open up the account with Wells Fargo or PNC, as long-term business relations in both, or other recommended course of action. Grant, what state are you in? Next question. That was a very respectful answer. I don't know. What answer are you talking about? Irishman. Thank you, though. Can you endorse a check in your all cap names and deposit it in your foundation? Absolutely. What you do is you take a check that's written in your all caps name, you endorse it like you normally would. You put the word buy in front of your name on the top of the back of the check. Buy, and you use your full living name to endorse it. So you're the representing agent. Now you're going to have a double or a dual endorsement because you're going to say pay to the order of next line and deposit for lawful money only for credit on account and put it into your foundation account. So it's a dual endorsement. And the directions are I've endorsed it, deposited for lawful money only, paid to the order of, or this particular stamp says deposit for lawful money only for credit on account, and it gives the account number and then his advocates. Take a picture of that. That's our account number. That account's been open for 15 years, Bank of America, done properly. You can use that to open it up at B of A. But it says you can't have an account as a private, unincorporated, unregistered foundation or SSN or trust. Just hasn't known what to say to these people. What should I do about the government state requesting me to fill out the census? I already answered that. What about somebody who's gone through the LPP? California forces you to get a new driver's and register your vehicle in California. No, we answered that. I thought you recommended a ledger. I never recommended a ledger. I've always recommended there's a couple out there. Decent is one of them. I don't think I've ever recommended a ledger, but you want a Trezor, Trezor, one of the best. But Decent, Decent is a good one too. But I'm looking into other wallets as well. I'm looking at walletscrutiny.com, and you guys should all do the same. I'm trying to find a wallet that lets me create the 20 words like Trezor used to. So I have a Trezor where I created the 20 words on and nobody knows it. So that's a solid, hard wallet. All right. Listen, guys, it's been an hour and 21 minutes. Monday afternoon, 5:21 p.m. Pacific. Uh, I appreciate you guys coming on. We got through about 40 questions, I'm gonna guess, somewhere in that neighborhood. I don't have a need to be here on Thursday. I'll be back again next Monday at 4 p.m. I appreciate you guys coming. We do a VIP Tuesday mornings at 8 a.m. and Thursdays at 8 a.m. Consider joining our VIP. We talk about everything crypto and how to make ourselves better and all kinds of things. It's a neat time for people to fellowship, hang out, and ask questions, get stuff done. Um, we never got to our questions. Oh, David. Hey, David, do me a favor. Send them to Alex at hisadvocates.org or post them because I'm not always getting to my email. Let me look real quick, see if I can't find your questions, David. Yeah. David, of course you sent them. REITER. There we go. There it is. No, I remember you guys. No, that's 617. I don't see any questions from today. Let me do all mailboxes. Hold on. Appreciate you guys hanging out. David's an important LPP member. David, my apologies. I don't see anything. Let me just open up the inbox and go back. Um, Maybe you didn't send it with your name on it. There it is. Okay. What VPN do I currently recommend, please? I use Malwarebytes. It's a malware and VPN in one solution for about 60, $70. You can get 3 computers for a year protected, and it's a largely private way for you to not only have the malware of the machine protected, but the VPN. The only nuance with VPNs is sometimes if you do what I do, if somebody has penetrated the internet somehow, I lock up the computer. And so a lot of times something happens on a machine and I look and see I have no internet access. And so I have to go reset the VPN, turn it off and turn it on. That's the only nuance you really got to consider with the VPN. And can you tell me, please, can people with a Ledger hard wallets convert directly or within the wallet to another crypto wallet without running over the Ledger platform to do the conversion? Don't worry about running over the Ledger platform to do the conversion. You're just going to get a new hard wallet, if I got your question right, which has the account numbers for each crypto. So if you have XRP on the ledger, you're going to go to the new hard wallet, open it up, look at XRP, find the account number. You're going to send $10, not more, to the account number, verified it hit the new account over on the new wallet. And then once you verified it hits, you send the balance over to the new wallet. Okay. Does that help? And I think he's asking this because there's been some compromise with ledgers in the last several months. A couple people have lost millions through an update process on a ledger, and part of that update process required the words of the ledger. Never, ever give the words of your device to anybody online, to any software, through any update process. You never give your seed phrase, which is the words, to anything or anybody online. As a matter of fact, if you're connected to anything and it asks for your seed phrase, guys, I don't care how stupid this sounds, whatever device you're on, I've shown you this a couple times in the last week. I keep the computer I do crypto on with a Faraday case. If this thing goes haywire, my screen goes black, I'm going to unplug it, jam it in this Faraday case, and seal it up as fast as I can. And more than likely, take this and crack it on the ground as hard as I can, as many times as I have to get the computer shut off. Because I don't care about the computer, I care about the account. And what happens is people are doing these scams out there, and they're saying, "Please update your device." And you think you've gotten a notice from Ledger and it's not from Ledger, and it walks you through this pretend, please plug in your device. You plug it in, okay, we need your in order for you to get your updates, we need to validate your keywords. Then they put their keywords in and then their screen goes black. It's just phishing. It's just scams. It's next level scams. If you're I'm sorry, but if you're dumb enough to put your keywords, be smart enough to get ready to stop the time frame, because when your screen goes black, they're working on your computer in the black background, moving the money off of your ledger account onto their account. So if you put it in a Faraday sleeve because you're connected through a Wi-Fi, if you put it in a Faraday sleeve, you cut the internet transaction off. Then you run down the hall to unplug your internet, then you come back to the computer, um, pull it out and do a hard shutdown on it or break it, whatever, but make sure the connection is lost with whoever. And if you're doing it on a phone, you're making a mistake right there. You should never do crypto on your phone. Um, I know it's just nobody asks those questions, but the reality is, guys, the scam, we're the future, we're the banks of the future, and you can't be silly enough to be not protecting yourself, like having your name on your home. Everybody knows where you live. Having your name on the accounts for gas, for electricity. Get your name off those accounts. Get your name off any credit report pulled um, with that house address on it. Contact the bureaus. Make sure your house address is off. You don't want anybody to be able to know where you live, to come to where you're at and try to force anything either. Um, and we're going to talk about not only just internet security, but home security and the things that should be being done. Because when you do have wealth, and many of you will, you're going to have extravagant wealth. And you're going to be doing ministry with it, hopefully, and not just buying, silly stuff. But with that understanding of wealth, you need to think about security. And we're going to be talking about all of this stuff as many of you already know we do on the VIP calls in the morning on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 a.m. because this is the type of stuff, and not only what to buy, where to buy, how to sell. Listen, for Belinda, who asked the question about I got to sell some crypto for this, that, and the other, don't sell crypto. Don't sell any crypto. Go get a loan against it. Don't sell it. There's people that'll give you 50% on your money right now, and you can go get your stuff fixed, make a payment to them. Your cryptos gonna keep going up in value versus you selling it and screwing it up. So I would not be selling any crypto, period. Next question. You talk about not selling your crypto, but to use it as collateral on a loan. But do the banks not have to hold that crypto you are using as collateral to pay off the loan? Yes, they do, in some cases, but there's things called smart contracts and escrow um, security collateral contracts that we're working on and we're going to present to you guys to do your own due diligence on, to where once the smart contract is complete, the money will move back to the hard wallet of your designation, but it's in a third party separate, and designated under a smart contract that automatically pulls the relationship cord, so you're not relying on any party. It just happens once something gets canceled. Third question. Our son is a carpenter. His family's medical expenses are paid by the Union Health Fund, not insurance. The fund is now requiring Social Security numbers. I would rebut that presumption to verify his two dependent children. They both live-born records, not birth certificates. And if the children get SS numbers, this will create an all caps registered organization. So there's plenty of federal law out there that you can utilize to stand on that you do not need to have a social security number as a child here in this nation, and that no benefit, right, or privilege can uh, be taken from you for not having a social security number, and just stand on that and just say, here's their names, here's their addresses, and you can put zeros in there for their social security number, and watch what happens. Just stand firm, stand tall, chest out, hands on the side, kind of a thing. Just say no and keep pushing back. Um, how do you text if there's jurisdictional issues, if such a common means of communication? I'm not giving legal answers on text. I'm supporting regular hello times, appointment times, consultations. When am I going to call you? Kind of a thing. So I won't do legal answers on text, but you can text all you want. For me, I just you're not I'm not a target either, but you're not somebody that they're seeking after for any reasons. For me, I just want to make sure I'm operating outside of every scope of jurisdiction. Like I don't want any communication that could be subpoenaed, any, to where I'm giving quote unquote. And even though the law substantiates me in a private membership organization giving legal advice or what have you, I still want to keep the means to hisadvocates.org, where those servers are outside of this country, where it's falls under a PMA, where my right to counsel anybody in the private is absolute. Supreme Court rulings are on every single page at the bottom of our pages on our website. So it's not something you really need to worry about. It's just something I worry about on text communication. And if it's not valuable crypto that will appreciate it, swap it over to a crypto that will appreciate it before taking the loan. Correct. Good point. All right, guys. Blessings. Enjoy your night. Everybody be calm. Have no stress in your life. It's coming. Um, It's going to happen way quicker than you think. And we're going to be looking at each other just going, what the heck? But make sure you've come completely out. Learn how to say no a little bit more often. Don't worry about what somebody thinks or doesn't think. we're going to have solutions and things ready to help people stand and really make a change and really make a big difference in this world. So God bless you guys. Yes, we got one more meeting tomorrow on the book. Um, Everything's being submitted to and waiting on approval. We're doing it through Amazon for a lot of different reasons, but we should know about it by tomorrow afternoon. So I will give a date, hopefully in the next 2 days, with a hopefully a marketing plan to get it out. I'm actually excited about it. I know all the people that got to read it and or help with the grammatical checks and everything else was their input was it was a great book. It was exciting, and to see the cases and the breakdown of them and how we're supported in doing what we do, it means everything. Anyway, God bless you guys. Have a great week. We'll see you next Monday, 4 p.m. Pacific. And any questions that you're not getting answered in your mind tonight, just hang on to them for the next few days or post them on hisadvocates.org. And if you're a VIP member, we'll definitely take care of you there. God bless.